Hi. On this video, I'm going to talk about intervention. It's the second of the three-legged stool that I talked about the other night, intervention. The first one was prevention. The second one is intervention, and the third one is recovery. And these are the three things that NASCA is all about. So tonight, intervention. Intervention, of course, is also an adult activity. And we have to teach ourselves what it is that we need to look for that might threaten our children, might be indications in our children about them being upset because they've been traumatized by child abuse issues. And these typical changes to look for are not really physical, although, of course, if somebody's being beaten and there are wounds on them and so forth, that's one thing. And we do need to watch for that. But as far as sexual activity goes and emotional activity goes, the signs are largely not physical. They are changes in a child's behavior or attitude or performance, and they can be very different for young children as opposed to children who are a little older. We have these in a category for you to look at, two separate categories, one for the young kids, one for the slightly older kids. On the web page that you'll find under Keeping Kids Safe, Protecting Kids it's called, our pull-down menu, Protecting Kids, the fourth pull-down menu in red on the front page of the website, and the first link there is prevention and intervention. So a little ways down the page, after talking about prevention, we talk about intervention. And here's the indicators of probable sexual abuse going on. There are things like sleep disturbances, regressive behavior, bedwetting, risk-taking behavior, refusal to want to be alone, or fear of people of a specific type, cruelty to animals, fire setting, difficulties in school, inappropriate interest in things that are sexual for the age of the kid. And these are the young adult section. In the older adult section, you'd look for things like overeating or undereating, bulimia or anorexia, running away from home, substance abuse, self-destructive behavior, including suicide attempts or mutilation, incorrigibility, criminal activity, depression, problems with peers, sudden changes in behavior, anger issues, and difficulties in school. So as you can see, they're a little different for younger kids and older kids, perhaps preteens and teens, and then adolescents. So look for those signs. Now, we have all this on our website, and you can go and check it out, again, under Prevention and Intervention, under the fourth pull-down menu. And there are additional things to look at related to what to look for and learning the signs of child abuse. But then once you see an indication that there might be child abuse going on, what do you do about it? Well, the one thing that you should do about it is learn how to talk to kids, because it's the child that's going to tell you. You know, frankly, as an aside, I should say that most children do eventually tell what's going on, but they don't tell it straight out. They don't have the language to do that, and they don't know they're supposed to. So you kind of have to draw a child out, and you want to do this in a more or less gentle way. You certainly don't want to be accusatory of them or angry at them or loud or explosive when you learn something. You don't want to swear at the partner that may be in the house that's molesting a child or any of that, because the child will shut down. And the point is, we want to encourage the child to tell us a story about what's going on with them, what's bothering them. And if they tell us a story, we'll actually get a lot of information out of that, and you'll have a suspicion of child abuse. Now, that's all you want. You don't want to become a social worker yourself. You want to get the suspicion, and once you have that, the next thing I'm going to talk about is what do you do with that? But before I even say that, there are slightly different techniques, again, for children that are young and children that are older, as far as how do you talk to them. And we have them on the website too, a whole series of articles on how to talk to very young children about sex, for example, and tips for talking to your kids about sex, tips to talk to kids about being safe in school or sports, how to talk to your children about sexual abuse, and how to keep your child safe online as well. And as I say, the young kids are a specialty group. They need to be brought out in a little different way than the older kids who you can appeal to in a different way. But again, once you have this information, what do you do about it? Well, the third part of intervention is, besides recognizing the signs and getting the story and having a real suspicion yourself, is what do you do about it? And what you do about it is you realize that ultimately the in-depth kind of investigation of these crimes, and they are all crimes, is most appropriately done by a job that's by a professional, by a child welfare worker or a law enforcement person or someone of that type. If they're seeing a therapist and they divulge to the therapist will be required. They're called mandated reporters, as are teachers, healthcare workers, and so forth. People who have specialty jobs that put them in touch with children are required or mandated reporters, and they will turn this information over to, for example, law enforcement. But we don't handle it ourselves, is the point. So when you have a suspicion, that's when you act. And then you have to kind of let go and let law enforcement do it. Now, sometimes it takes longer than we wish, but you're already starting to protect the child. And of course, all through a child's life, you want to make sure that they know that no matter what, they can come to mom or dad with a story, and you will believe them. As I said before, children try to tell us, and only a couple percent of the time are they telling fibs. 98% of the time they tell the truth, but sometimes they don't tell the truth straight out. And so it's when we hear something that's a little off base, it's up to us to try and understand from them what it is they're really talking about and what we should do about it. So that's tonight's topic, intervention. And tomorrow night we'll talk about recovery. These are the three legs of the stool that I talked about the other night. The three-legged stool of what NASCA is all about is prevention, intervention, and recovery. And talked about prevention last night, intervention tonight, and recovery tonight. So these three videos will be appearing in a row. By the way, there is now a place for these on the NASCA website. All you do is go to nasca.org / and type in video and hit enter. And you'll come up on the page where these are being collected, and they'll always reside. So from Los Angeles, this is Bill Murray, the founder and still the CEO of NASCA, saying, God bless you and the children of the world, and God bless adult survivors of child abuse.